I call this meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. Do we have a closed session report?
Nothing to report out, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to jump ahead here and ask our Officer of the Year, Sergeant Daniel Freites, if you would come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Litzter.
Here.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Here.
Councilmember Judge.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Here.
Mayor Thomas.
Here. Are there any items for agenda review? Seeing none.
Mr. Mayor, I move that all resolutions and ordinances presented tonight be read in title only and all further reading be waived.
Second.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
If any member of the City Council may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should declare so at this time. And we see none.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, the first item on the agenda is item 1D1, presentation of certificates of appreciation to outgoing members of the Simi Valley Council on Aging Executive Board, and Community Services Manager Angel Sierra is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and members of the City Council. This evening, the City Council is recognizing one outgoing Council on Aging Executive Board member. Although Jean is unable to join us this evening to receive this acknowledgement, I'd like to read a few words about her volunteer service. Jean Shoemaker has been a Council on Aging Executive Board member this past year, filling an unscheduled vacancy. While on the Executive Board, Jean has assisted the COA at special events, including the Arts and Crafts Fair and Bingo Bonanza. In addition, Jean has served as a volunteer in the Congregate Meal Program, ensuring that participants receive a daily hot meal. Despite her short tenure on the Executive Board, Jean has made a tremendous impact in the areas in which she was involved. Thank you, Jean. We deeply appreciate the service you've provided to the City of Simi Valley as a COA Executive Board member and to the seniors in our community.
She's not here, but she deserves applause. She's been phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D2, presentation of an honorary resolution to the recipient of the Wayne Templeton Volunteer of the Year Award, and Community Services Manager Angel Sierra will present this item as well.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and members of the City Council once again. Tonight, the City Council is honoring the recipient of the 2023 Wayne Templeton Volunteer of the Year Award. The Wayne Templeton Volunteer of the Year Award for the City of Simi Valley is an honor given to a senior whose selfless volunteerism helps improve the lives of seniors in our community. This year, I'm happy to announce that Hilda Napton was nominated and selected by her peers to receive this honor. Ms. Napton, it brings me great pleasure to invite you to come forward as I read the resolution. Whereas Hilda Napton has been selected by the Simi Valley Council on Aging as the recipient of the 2023 Wayne Templeton Volunteer of the Year Award, following in the tradition of selfless devotion to senior issues and outstanding service to the senior citizens in our community. And whereas Hilda Napton has served Simi Valley seniors in numerous capacities, volunteering nearly 1,000 hours over the past 3 years, ensuring that the growing needs of seniors in our community are met. And whereas Hilda Napton has been a dedicated Senior Share Program volunteer for 2 years, reliably and energetically showing up each week in the early morning hours to sort, pack, and distribute bags of food to our community seniors experiencing food insecurity. And whereas Hilda Napton has consistently supported wellness expos, arts and crafts fairs, and bingo bonanza events that seniors love to attend and which help raise funds to enhance the experience and environment of the senior center. And whereas Hilda Napton has served as an ambassador at the main desk at the senior center for 2 years, warmly welcoming and assisting seniors while demonstrating friendliness, patience, and kindness when providing assistance. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Simi Valley that it commends Hilda Napton as the recipient of the 2023 Wayne Templeton Volunteer of the Year Award, and it expresses its recognition and gratitude for all that she has done and continues to do in our community, presented this 29th day of January 2024.
So this city is filled with people that volunteer their time. It's one of the things that I love about the city. So to be Volunteer of the Year, that's saying something pretty special. So congratulations.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 1D3, presentation of an honorary resolution commending Sergeant Daniel Frades as the 2023 Officer of the Year, and Police Chief Shorts is here to present this item.
There we go. Good evening. Mayor Thomas and members of the City Council. It is my pleasure to introduce the Simi Valley Police Department's Officer of the Year, Sergeant Daniel Frades. Danny, will you please come to the front of City Council chambers? Danny was chosen as the 2023 Officer of the Year by his police department peers for his dedication to his job and his work ethic. It is now my privilege to read the contents of the honorary resolution. Whereas, the Simi Valley Police Department annually selects a member of its force to receive the Officer of the Year award, and no higher honor can be received than the recognition of one's peers within the police profession for distinguished service. And whereas, the Simi Valley Police Officer of the Year award for 2023 has been bestowed upon Sergeant Daniel Frades as the officer most distinguished within the Simi Valley Police Department due to his outstanding service to the community and dedication to his profession. And whereas Sergeant Daniel Frades began his law enforcement career in 2007, joining the department as a police officer trainee, being sworn in later that year. He has worked assignments in patrol, Special Operations Unit, and the Detective Bureau Major Crimes Unit, working closely with the FBI and the Ventura County Sheriff's Office to bring the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force to the Simi Valley Police Department. He was promoted to senior officer in 2021 and quickly promoted the following year to sergeant. And whereas Sergeant Frades served as patrol sergeant and holds ancillary assignments as the bicycle patrol supervisor and the member of the public relations team. He received a Meritorious Service Award in 2017 for his service on the Honor Guard and has previously served the department as a CPR instructor and a member of the SWAT team for over 13 years. He also serves his fellow officers as the vice president of the Simi Valley Police Officers Association. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Simi Valley that it hereby extends to Sergeant Daniel Frades its highest commendation for the excellent quality of work he performs and his commitment to his profession. Presented this 29th day of January 2024.
So I got to be there when he got his award. Madam Hick, you had a good night. And I got to tell you, this is a perfect example of the quality of men and women we have protecting this city. We're so proud of our police department and very proud of you. Congratulations.
There's just one thing they forgot in the resolution. Danny's a graduate of Royal High School. Highlanders.
And his chief is his recruiter and background investigator.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 2, public statements on appointments, special presentations, and informational reports. Mr. Mayor, we have no speakers for this item this evening. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3A1, appointment of Simi Valley Council on Aging Executive Board members, and Community Services Manager Angel Sierra will be presenting this item.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and members of the City Council. 5 positions will become vacant on the Council on Aging Executive Board when terms expire on January 31st, 2024, resulting from the completion of Executive Board terms. The Executive Board advises the City Council on issues impacting seniors and conducts fundraising activities to support senior programs within the community. Recruitment to fill these positions began on September 11, 2023, and concluded on November 17, 2023. The COA received 8 applications for consideration by the COA membership. The Council on Aging conducted an election at its January 8, 2024 meeting and is recommending 5 nominees for appointment to the Executive Board for terms commencing on February 1st, 2024, with terms concluding on January 31st, 2026. The nominees are, and if you could please step forward as I call your name, Ted Andrews, Al Brown, Gene Cecil, Clyde Bill Oliver, and Peter Stong. It is recommended that the City Council approve and the mayor appoint these 5 applicants nominated to the Council on Aging Executive Board. This concludes the report of staff and is available to answer any questions at this time.
These are 3 outstanding men. I just have to say, all 5 of them applicants, if they were to talk today about all the things that they're currently doing and are continuing to do for the Council on Aging and for the entire senior community, it's just outstanding. And so I would love to have the honor of officially nominating them to the board, if that's all right.
I'll second.
The motion passes unanimously.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for committing your time to help our city. We appreciate it.
And we're celebrating on Wednesday, is it, gentlemen? Just while they're here, just a reminder, the 50th anniversary. And we're all invited. So Wednesday, 2 o'clock. And refreshments are served. We may or may not have a magician in our midst who may be standing here ready to perform in a couple days. So see you then.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3B1, presentation by Andrew Thomas, Government Relations Manager, regarding Southern California Edison's resiliency efforts.
Good evening to Mayor Thomas, to Pro Tem Rhodes, to the council and the staff who have assisted me to address you today. In Southern California Edison's continual collaboration with the city, including a recent public safety partner portal review session that we had in January, I have come this evening to respond to the city's request for an abbreviated PSPS update. I am joined in chambers by my colleague. I panicked a little bit, I looked to my left, but I think he's to my right. So I will downregulate my blood pressure, he is here. And Bob Sines, who is with our Business Resiliency Group, and who stands in support of sharing this sharing opportunity, which we appreciate, which will overall be a favorable update on the efforts that we have been doing to your city. PSPS, or Public Safety Power Shutoffs, is a measure of last resort used to counter the threat when the convergence of things such as high winds, low humidity, dry vegetation, and other factors that warrant the de-energization of circuits to mitigate the threat of wildfires. Next slide. The 2023 annual report will be finalized and available later this spring, and I look forward to sharing the final report with the city. The 2022 reliability report was previously presented to the city, and the results show that of the 26 circuits that serve your city, only 3 circuits, the Brennan, the Energy, and the Morgenstein, Brennan and Morgenstein on the east side of town, the Energy on the west side, experienced PSPS shutdowns in 2022. In a preliminary look at the 2023 report, which will be coming out later, there were again 3 circuits that experienced PSPS in 2023, the Morgenstein, the Brennan, and the Rahata, all which are on the western side of town. But it is notable that while the Rahata circuit PSPS outage did impact the city, the Morgenstein and Brennan circuits, because of our efforts in circuit segmentation, had very few Simi Valley residents or customers experience an outage. And so these positive 2022 results and the preliminary 2023 results confirm that the city is moving in the right direction and that SE's efforts are working to lessen the incidence of PSPS events. The men and women of Edison are continuously working to improve on that record of reliability. Next slide. Circuits that have had the most, that have been most impacted by PSPS receive our focus. Obviously, that makes the most sense. One place where the work toward the most impacted circuits can be reviewed is seen on the screen now, se.com/wildfire/PSPS/enhancements. And what's listed there is a list of circuits that can be shown that receive our attention after they have been recognized to have had a PSPS incident. You'll see the first slide if you go to that website. And then the second slide to the right is where you'll see the listing of counties, and under the counties, you'll see the circuits that are receiving our enhanced hardening efforts. Edison's approach is to target circuits that experience PSPS outages with hardening efforts to reduce the likelihood of future PSPS. And a view of the site that you see on the screen will show the 3 circuits mentioned earlier and the efforts toward those circuits. So we'll go through those now. The first of those, sorry for the strain for those who are trying to see from a distance, is the Brennan circuit. And as you see and look at this, and as it's updated, you'll note that the planned work should be completed by February. It replaces 7.42 miles of existing overhead conductor. Overhead conductor, for those, is our wires that hang on our poles. And cover conductor are those wires when they're covered with our insulated covering. And that covering adds a significant layer of protection, reduces the incident of sparking, which is one of the primary concerns that have when high winds do come up, but also when vegetation and other things get into the lines, that is a major issue. So covering them is a significant fire mitigation effort. And then we also are implementing some operational protocols to raise the PSPS wind speed. So obviously, we know much when the winds start to come up, beyond worrying about our wigs flying off, we are also concerned about the high speeds. And so by doing these particular efforts through this corridor, we're able to have a reduction in 100% of outage time, assuming the same conditions, and it says 2021. So basically, if you have a windstorm and after we do these improvements, if that same windstorm comes through the subsequent year, we can have a significant, or in this instance, 100% reduction because of the efforts that are being made. If anybody goes to this portal, which is available, you'll see the green denotes the undergrounding portion of the area. The overhead portion is in gold, and then you'll see substations and other things. And while most people look at undergrounding as the penultimate effort in hardening, definitely a cover conductor is a much faster implementation tool, and it has a significant reduction. So overhead conductors gives a great additional layer of protection to your city. Next slide. The Morgenstein Circuit has equally had a significant 10.2 miles of existing overhead wire was conducted with cover conductor, implementing some optional protocols to raise PSPS wind thresholds, again, reducing the likelihood of another incident by 100% if the same conditions prevail in the following year. And so these efforts are being initiated in those areas that have had PSPS shutoffs. We're going to those circuits first to implement changes. And this is one of the ones that definitely gets a lot of attention, the Morgenstein, and we've definitely been working on that one as well. Next slide. And then it's the Rajada. Now, the Rajada is on the eastern part of town, Easy Street, other commercial areas over there. We have replaced 1.4 miles of existing, and that'll be completed by February, overhead wire with new conductor. And we also, as it says there, operational protocols benefiting local business. There was an outreach from Isoplex, one of your major entertainment cities, that we met with them on Friday, and I'll give an update as to the efforts that will support that location continue to maintain power. But our efforts to them and to the city continue throughout the area. Again, first starting with those areas that have been identified and hit with PSPS, and then going out to those other areas around the community that have been also recognized as well. Next slide. So with those three circuits gaining focus and attention, do know that spans of cover conductor have been implemented and installed in 6 other circuits across the region. The Appleton and Erringer, which are more central to town, the Yosemite and the Stearns. The Twin Lakes and the Buckner have also received cover conductor, and as well as the Energy on the eastern part of town has also had some hardening work done over the last year. So as, again, with the focus on those circuits that have been shut down, with cover conductor and the expedited work, there also is work being done on a number of circuits after surveys and other things recognize that they need to have certain improvements. And then just up in the right corner, just for FYI, the circuits with the largest number of customers, if you will, or residents and or commercial customers are the Big Rock, Montgomery, Erringer, and Township. And you'll see of those 4, the 3 larger had no PSPS or other incidents over the last 2 years. There is a concerted effort being directed toward the city to support improving reliability and add to these efforts the regular cycle of drone inspections and vegetation management efforts and regular maintenance work. SCE is definitely on the job here in Simi Valley. Next slide. And one of the things that I wanted to point out was, obviously, Isoplex is a major center of entertainment, pride, and obviously an employer in the area. And they've had challenges in regards to maintaining what is to be a unique facility with their needs for refrigeration. And so they brought that through the supervisor's office. Last Friday, myself and 2 operations colleagues met with Supervisor Parvin, leaders of the Simi Valley Chamber and Isoplex owner Scott Slinger, to discuss the reliability at the facility and an important center for recreation, training, and employment. The owner, Scott, was pleased with the outline of how we are using switching protocols installed that will make the facility more reliable and thus support his efforts as an employer and host of local and regional events. Our efforts toward Isoplex are in line with the everyday review of circuits and maintenance repairs that we seek to improve reliability not only for Isoplex, but other residential and commercial customers alike. So definitely was pleased to go out and see the facility. I apologize for Scott if he's tuning in. I know they've rebranded their facility with the LA Kings. As beautiful it is, it's also important because that is a major source of pride for your community. And with him holding events where people are coming in from regionally, one of the things he told me was one of the governing bodies is concerned that they have these shutdowns. And so when he can have more reliable reporting and knowing what's going on, it allows him to be a more viable entrant into the petitioning for those regional events to happen at his location. So we'll continue to work with Scott, but also, again, others in the area where we're trying to support their efforts. Next slide. So all this work collectively looks to reduce the incidence of PSPS outages. And at this point, I'll ask for the cities and residents' continual cooperation, which you give. So when the inspections of poles, through drone inspections, vegetation mitigation efforts do come to your city, we can follow those standards and procedures that are given to us to do those inspections, to do the necessary work to improve reliability against future wind incidents. So as much as the hardening that you saw in the portal that I showed you, those pole replacements, those switches, those cameras being installed across the area where we can monitor wind speeds are equally as important. And we just want to thank the council for the support through permitting and easement allowances in the city when we do come out. At times it may seem inconvenient. Do know that we do our drone inspection during regular working hours, because we did have somebody ask about a drone outside their window at 10:30 at night, and when they opened their curtain, it flew away. That's not us. That's a whole nother issue altogether. They were searching for Hoffa, I think. So with the low incidence of PSPS, having just reported, I do welcome the opportunity to allow my colleague Bob to share with the city some additional information that may be helpful to a large percentage of the city, including those who have functional needs. And so I'll ask Bob to come up and share.
Thank you, Andrew. And I think Andrew set me up to be here the time when you're honoring all the seniors. I think I've aged a bit over these past few years doing this. My name is Bob Steens. I'm a colleague with Andrew in our local public affairs. I specialize, I guess, in our wildfire and PSPS efforts. I've been doing it since 2018, I think. So it's been a fun ride. I know, or maybe fun is not the right word, but it's been an interesting ride. We've come a long way since we first started doing PSPS. The stat I really want to call attention to here is, and this was an outside study that did a very analytical study, and we've reduced the probability of a catastrophic wildfire from our system from between 75 and 80% as a result of all the work we've done between the grid hardening network that Andrew talked about and the public safety power shutoffs, and we're continuing. These numbers here are from the end of last year. We probably in about a month or so will have the updated numbers for 2023. I know we're over 5,000 miles of covered conductor that have been installed. The inspections are a very important part, the weather stations and the cameras. And we've also, I know last year was not that bad as far as PSPS, but we have dramatically reduced the number of PSPS events. So we go to the next slide, I'll talk about some of our programs. And first, I do want to thank the city. You've been a great partner with your senior center. Whenever we have a PSPS in the area, your staff is great to work with. And I think almost every event we wind up opening up at the senior center. And it's one of our probably most frequent ones with the highest number of visitors is the Simi Valley Senior Center. But during a PSPS event, and we're actually going to be expanding that, in the process of expanding that to other types of outages, like if we have a major windstorm that, not PSPS or rainstorms or other situations where we have outages, opening up what we call customer resource centers. And this is where customers can come, get information about the potential about the PSPS, charge their cell phones. We have go bags that have like a cell phone charger in it, a portable cell phone charger and information. And depending on the time of the year, we give out ice vouchers, or probably not in this area, some of our more rural areas, firewood. We now have the ability to provide translations in 120 different languages. Obviously, we don't have people there that can do that. That's all done through some technology and cell phones. We've also, and we're expanding this again this year, working with 211 centers to provide services to members of our community, the access and functional needs. And they can get services like hot food delivery or temporary lodging. And then we're also this year expanding through our website and at these facilities the ability to provide services and information in American Sign Language. We've, since day one, again, the access and functional needs area has been a special focus of us. So we have provided, we have a critical program called Critical Care Battery Backup. I gotta be slow there, there's too many acronyms in that. But that's a program we have where customers that are on our medical baseline rates, so have some type of a medical need, and are on one of the PSPS circuits, qualified to get a free battery that can power their medical equipment. It's not intended to power it for necessarily for 2 or 3 days, but it's intended to provide enough power for them to get through several hours and enact their own emergency program. We also have rebates on portable batteries for all customers that are on these high fire risk areas. And there's information there on the marketplace at .sce.com. Next slide. Whoop. Sorry. That's okay. So notifications, and I do want to acknowledge, and I know Brian pointed that out to me in an email on October 30th or something. Or the event we had in late October was not a good event for us for notifications. We've changed our whole system and found a few bugs in that. We corrected those some of those bigger problems, and we have a team working now. We're meeting almost every day for the next week or so to go back and look what didn't quite go right with our notification system. And again, the big problems we had on that October 29th event was our website was not updating, the public safety partner portal was not updating, the notifications were not going out. Again, we addressed those pretty quickly, but we're continuing to work on our system to continue to make improvements. Our outage map, which is sce.com/outage map. Surprised we have one that logical of a name. But that's where you can go to find not just PS, but if there's you used to, up until I think 2 years ago, had to go to one map to see if it was like a car hit pole outage, another map if it was a public safety power shutoff, or a rotating outage. That's all consolidated into one map now. So you can type in an address and see what, see if it's a public safety power shutoff or if it's another type of an outage. Again, encourage customers to go onto their account and log and register to receive notifications. If you're like me, when you set up your Edison account 20 years ago, you had a thing called a landline. You've gotten rid of that now, but if you haven't told us you've gotten rid of it and replace it with your cell phone number, we can't contact you. So please really encourage all the residents to go in and update their contact information so we can contact you, again, not only during a public safety power shutoff, but other types of outages as well. And next slide. So again, this is basic information. As I call it, sort of the best website to go to for information is sce.com/wildfire. It's got links to all of our customer programs on it. It's got links to if you want to monitor our weather stations, the cameras, all that's available. It has a 7-day outlook for potential PS events. So that's the best place to go to keep up and keep informed. And then also, be prepared for any type of, not just public safety power shutoff, but any type of outage or any type of emergency. We all know where we live, and sooner or later we're going to get that big earthquake. So just, everyone needs to be prepared, have safety plans. I know I know Ventura County's got some great resources on how to prepare a plan, so really encourage you to look at that. And with that, I think Andrew and I are available for any questions.
Councilmember Judge.
I just wanted to thank you both for coming out and explaining that to our city. I'm very happy to hear that our PSPS has went down. That's great news. I only got, I think, one call around Thanksgiving time that they're.
And we did not.
I know, but it
We
wasn't.
I don't call it the Thanksgiving tradition, but I think this was the first year in 4 years we haven't had a PSPS event on
Yes, it
Thanksgiving.
was very, very nice. Those people were very thankful. I just wanted to say again, thanks for doing that. Also, you had one map picture that showed the city with all the names of the circuits on there. Could we get copies of that sent to us? Because I have a book with all the circuits, but every time you guys tell me a circuit's going out, I got to flip through this book.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd also encourage you to work with the city staff on the public safety partner portal. Has a lot of information as well.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Reiterating what Councilmember Judge says, yes, things have improved. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. The first couple of years, it was pretty difficult. I have a brother-in-law that retired from DWP Power. So the first couple times, everything was being shut off, and there was no reason for that. And so he explained to me the different circuits. So you guys have done a great job on going to the circuit areas and only being able to turn those off, so I really appreciate that. And the drones aren't really the big deal here. Everyone wants to know what the helicopters are doing back and forth. They're all constantly hitting the Facebook. But, so thank you for all of that. And we use the maps quite often whenever you send something out. It's nice. I live in Montgomery, who never gets turned off. Now, don't turn me off just because I said that. But, you know, it's our edges. It's our fire-prone area. So are there any plans, or can the current circuits be broken down even further?
We're always looking, we call it segmentation.
Okay.
So Brian and I were talking about the energy circuit. It has, don't hold me, there's 9 segments to it. It may be 13. They all run together. So yeah, we're always looking how to add more and more segmentation. When we first started in 2018, 2019, when we first started doing this, when we shut off the energy circuit, the whole energy circuit got shut off. Now, when we shut off the energy circuit, it's limited to the unincorporated Los Angeles County part. So we're continually looking where we can add new segments. We've even added segments in the middle of an event, which actually which led to some challenges with the notifications. But we're continuing to look at how we can reduce the scope of the PSPS events.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Councilmember Litster.
Thank you. Actually, I'm just to work backwards, follow up on the last thing that you just shared just now. So you don't shut the whole circuit down now, you may shut up segments. How is that labeled that we know? Is it like energy CD or energy and a half, or?
So let me first say, there are some circuits where we have to de-energize
Sure.
the entire circuit. Yeah, the city has information on that. We have a public safety partner portal that's available for city staff and the emergency officials. And in that, it does have the segmentation in it. It's probably not a good thing to print out and keep at your home, because it's very dynamic and we're changing those often. But that information's updated regularly on our public safety partner portal.
When you notify someone of a power safety shutoff, you notify the entire circuit, not
So-
just the segment,
Yeah,
correct?
so what we do is initially, it sort of depends. When we do the initial 48-hour, we will usually notify the entire circuit. But when we do the actual shutoffs, we only notify those folks that are on the segments that are being shut off.
Got it.
Because initially 48 hours out, we don't necessarily know what segments are going to be in scope. As we get closer to the event and we have a better definition of the weather, we can limit it to the only notifying those customers that are in scope. But we're constantly looking at being able to improve that. And but it's as one of the good things is over the past few years, we've gained a lot of intelligence on what parts of the circuit have been shut off in the past, given weather conditions. We use machine learning to help us better define and project what areas are going to be impacted.
Very good. Help me understand, you were talking about the SCE.com/outage map, and I've seen and used that. But how up to date is that map? Is it real time, lag of a couple hours?
So it's for like just a car hit pole or regular
Sure,
transformer go out, it takes about 20 minutes
okay.
for it to get updated. And the initial information is going to be very rough. The outage, it's going to give a estimated restoration time, but that's based on just an algorithm and an analysis. We don't get a really good restoration time until obviously we get the repair crew out there and they can see what happened, and then they will put a more accurate restoration time in.
And that was going to be my follow-up question. So the restoration time is also included in that map, or it's
Correct.
listed?
Yeah. If you click on the area, it will give a estimated restoration time. Again, initially in the first hour, it's just I would say it's more than a guess.
Sure it is.
It's they use an algorithm to
Calculated.
yeah, but it's not until the troubleman gets out there and sees, okay, this is the problem, that they get a better restoration time.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. Couple questions maybe that are more specific to general areas, and I don't know if this is for you or Andrew. I know Strathern Park, Historical Park, experienced during their this event a year or so ago, Day of the Dead, yes,
This year?
last year. And I believe they're on the Morgenstein, if I looked at your map correctly. Is that now being segmented? I noticed it looked like they're underground. I mean, what,
Yeah, so we've done, we actually had hoped to have the Morgenstein fixed last year. It's on the, it should be fixed first half of this year in advance of next year's PSPS season. And so we hope to
so
significantly.
it's getting some special attention. is
It's
what you're
getting
saying.
covered conductor and other things. Now, again, covered conductor doesn't mean there will never be a PSPS. It's still going to have, what covered conductor allows us to do is raise the wind thresholds.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask. You use the term raise the PSPS wind speed threshold. What is that threshold? I mean,
So
we're
it's,
going from 50
it's
now
about,
to 75? What?
for bare wire, it's 31 sustained, 45 gust. I may be off by a few
That's bare
miles per
wire.
hour.
Okay.
And then once we cover it, it goes up to 45, 58. So it significantly raises the thresholds. Now, again, if you get a 75-mile-an-hour wind go through here, that happened, I don't know, I forgot 2 or 3 years ago when everything went crazy. I think we had a trampoline leave someone's lawn and blow into a line. Then we would still have to potentially de-energize, but it does help, it doesn't eliminate, it reduces the chance of de-energization.
So it's about 15 miles an hour?
Higher, yeah.
Higher, okay.
But you do have to factor in at any given time the other aspects of moisture in the air, the humidity, the fuel that's on the ground. Like right now, when we get these rains, they make my day, because obviously they're saturating the ground around it. So obviously the wind speeds then factor into what is the fuel like on the ground, what is the moisture in the air, and that's where we find the final calculation.
Interesting, okay, thank you. The other last thing, maybe just one quick update on WM Waste Management. I know that they are anxious you're working with them, just wondered if maybe, just a
Yeah,
moment to.
For those who may not know, Waste Management is endeavoring to be an innovator with a renewable natural gas project that will help the local environment and also do some significant savings. And so there was some stall in that communications when I was first coming on board, and there's been a tremendous amount of communication going on. We are meeting milestones that they're asking for. So there was a duct and structure update that we delivered to them, which allows them to solicit their contractors. There's some paving going on up in that location as well. We're able to allow them with that initial delivery at the end of the last year for them to start looking to contact the state and Caltrans, because there will be some needs to burrow underneath the freeway passage there to support that. And, we definitely have a person who is the project manager assigned to that. So there is a definitive person who's working with that, Renee Ruiz, and they've been participating in these weekly calls. And one of our planners, Lonnie Yost, did bring out their senior vice president to the location to give them a tour. So there's just been a constant amount of communication, touring, and hitting of milestones to move that project forward.
Thank
So it's 24, 25 that we're looking into completion for that, but those milestones are being delivered on.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, all you're doing.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Both of you, thank you for coming out and giving us this presentation. The communication upgrade has been noted, and it's awesome. So the relationship is really solid. My fellow council members have asked the serious questions. I have one that has been asked of me multiple times. I don't know the answer to. Who in the world came up with the naming of the circuits? Because they make no sense at all.
It's,
You're lucky to-
it is the crews at the time when they were, they don't make a lot of sense. They do, and I didn't look at the ones here as much. A lot of them will follow a theme around a substation. And again, I'm not familiar with these, but some of them will be like flowers or some of them, and that's because it's associated with one substation, so they know if the just like in Santa Clarita, there's a bunch of named after musical instruments. So they know if there's an outage of the clarinet, they just automatically know what substation that's associated with. I'm not sure the ones out here where they came from, but yeah, no, there's, I scratched my head many
I was
times as
hoping
well.
for reason.
No,
Are
no,
you,
they're-
are you
they're-
seeking a
Some-
name change to roads on any of them? I don't know. That's-
Some of them are old names from the community.
You
yeah,
have
some of
Enchanted
them-
and Cassidy
Yeah.
and all these ones out here that
Erringer's a street, so that's easy.
Big Rock.
That was my only question,
Yeah.
but thank you, guys.
Well, I don't have any questions, but I did get a chance to spend a day out at your facility learning about all this about a year ago or so, I believe. And we've met multiple times, and I just hope everybody understands the magnitude of the work that you guys are doing, because we're talking about thousands and thousands of upgrades over hundreds or thousands of miles, and it is a lot. Of course, when that person loses their power, they don't care about that. But I do remember that trampoline event, though. That was my neighborhood. And it was just after I got my emergency generator installed, so I was the envy of the neighborhood.
that was not a fun few days, I'll tell you that.
But anyways, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
If there are no other questions, I would just advocate as residents are the pathway to helping other residents. Things like the critical battery backup and all those other things, we'll work with the city to post them on your websites. I know some cities do outreach events. Supervisor Parvin had an event over at the mall where we came out and shared with emergency units to talk about how we can support our community. So we will definitely work with the city to get this information out, because backup batteries in our possession are no good. They need to be in the hands of those who can use them, along with the rebates and other programs that are available. So we'll definitely be in contact to support any events that you're doing to get that information out. So thank you for the time and the opportunity.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3B2, presentation by Caltrans regarding the 118 Clean California Landscape Project, and Public Works Director Ron Fuchiwaki is here to introduce the presenters.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and council members. As the city clerk indicated, this evening Caltrans staff will be providing a virtual presentation about the Clean California Landscape Project currently under construction along the 118 freeway between Cuner Drive and First Streets. Tonight's presenters include Hammer Sui, Clean California Program Manager, and Duke Trin, Landscape Architect. Other Caltrans staff are also available, as you can see on the circles, for any questions that may come up, including construction, et cetera. Now I'll turn the presentation over to Hammer. Up. Sound. Hold on. Looks like his mic is on.
Just for the record, we are all excited to see this presentation soon, so we're happy to wait till it gets figured out. Just want to be very clear.
It doesn't show muted anymore. Over there, now we can hear him.
Incorporating community input through engagements, creating jobs, balanced landscape design achieves water conservation.
Hello, Hammer?
beautified
Hammer?
freeway-
Hammer, can you
Yes.
hear us?
Yes,
Well, we had some difficulties at our end, so we haven't been able to hear you up until now. So if you wouldn't mind starting over.
oh, sure. Yes,
Not all of us were
Yes.
able to read lips this time, so if you can start at the beginning, we'd really appreciate it.
great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Mayor Thomas, a member of the council, and everyone. So Caltrans would like to recognize, allow me to lower my, would like to recognize the community members joining this evening tonight. And thank you for your time. We appreciate the opportunity to share the Clean California Ventura 118 Beautification Project construction update. So followed by my colleague Duke sharing the design features, then we'll open up for questions and comments. So the construction of this project is going to cost $2.99 million. Construction's begun October 15th last year. It's projected to be done by end of March, weather permitting, this year. Currently, the construction is at about 25% complete. So the construction photo you see was taken on January 19th at Yosemite Street on and off ramps. So the work has done include irrigation lines, and those are installed. So clearing and grabbing is complete. 20% or so of the stamped concrete work is complete. And no planting has been planted yet. And some of the community and environmental benefits of the project include incorporated community input through the engagements, creating jobs. Balanced landscape design achieves water conservation. A beautified freeway and enhanced community pride. It also deters illegal dumping activities. So next, I'll look at the schedule project timeline. So the local engagement was September in 2021. Then, I'm sorry, the local alignment was in September 2021. And then at the end of September, community engagement meeting was held. Community design phase of engagement occurred August 3rd, 2022. So construction started in mid-October in 2023. And as we project, the project is gonna finish by end of March this year, and weather permitting. So now I would like to introduce Caltrans Mr. Duke Train, our landscape architect, to share the design features and what would it look like, the corridor when the work is done, how it would appear. Duke, take it away, please.
Great. Thank you, Hammer. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. This first slide you see is the vicinity map of Simi Valley, and also showing the work limit or the project limit from First Street to Kuna Drive. The beautification project will consist of new plantings, decorative hardscape, and native hydro seeds. And the focus will be on First Street and Yosemite. Can we go back to the previous slides, Hammer? Sorry. Yes, the focus will be on First Street and Yosemite since it's the major ramp going into the city center. And also both ramp as of now, before the improvement, is quite empty with only a few trees. The other ramps, such as Erringer Road and Sycamore Drive, Tapple Canyon Road, Stern Street, and Kuna Drive, will also receive some improvement. Next slide. Here's a list of plant material we are proposing for this project. It's a combination of native and non-native plants with colorful foliage and also different color flowers. All of the plants are low water usage. The native hydro seed mix will also bring more color to the landscape. Next slide. The decorative hardscape will consist of rock blankets, stamped concrete, colored concrete, and rock mulch. We use these rock patterns and gravels to simulate a more natural environment. Next slide. Here at First Street, we use an interpretation of an image from a city that represents the hills, the valley, and the streams, and we place it on the slope at the on-ramp loop. When the traveler going through the freeway, they can see they are in city of Simi Valley. The 3 layers of hill, valley, and stream are repeated along the slope on the mainline freeway, and all the non-paving area will be hydro seed with wildflower seed mix. Next slide. At the other ramp, such as Erringer, Sycamore, Tapple Canyon, Stern, we're using stamped concrete and propose in the area that doesn't have any much landscape to reduce erosion and also to beautify that area. The plant palette and decorative paving were repeated from the ramp to the next ramp to show the connection while transitioning from the one end of the city to the other, such as from First to Yosemite. Next slide. Here at Yosemite, we're using similar concept as First Street, the 3 layers of hill, valley, and stream. We change it to a wave pattern for that representations. The round sunset on First Street was changed to a triangle, and it's surrounded by the waves. And again, all non-paved area will be hydro seed with native flower hydro seeding. Next slide. Here is a rendering of Yosemite Boulevard at the on-ramp loop and also mainline freeway. And that concludes the presentations. And
Mr. Mayor, we'd like to open up for any questions and comments, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you guys for the presentation. I'm glad we got the technical difficulties out of the way. Sorry you had to do the presentation twice. And thank you very much for this image. I've been fielding questions of what's it going to look like, and the fact you're going to be done in March is, I think, maybe the most astonishing part about it. But I appreciate the comments. How much public input was digested in coming up with the designs?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, the community engagement received a number of questions. The questionnaire we sent out is that, do we want more plants? Do we want more hardscapes? Or do we, questions to the community members, or do we want a balanced approach? So essentially, the answers from community members are leaning towards more plants, a little bit less hardscape, but balanced to have both. So we took exactly what it is and transposed into our design with what it is. And then we shared with community members of what the design, during the design phase of engagement, and we received no more comments or questions on that. So I would say this is more of a community-based design, and Caltrans is facilitating under the Clean California program. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Councilmember Blitzer.
Thank you. I think we're all very excited that you are that you have done this and this is happening, and I concur. I was surprised it was going to be completed so quickly. My question is, we understand Caltrans is making this magic all happen. If a few months from now there is, say the sprinklers don't work, or there has been something, plants are dying or something, how is that rectified? What is the reporting mechanism? Are we as a city, do we have any responsibility, or are you just going to magically make this perfect forever?
Well, thank you, Council Member, for the question. And it is very important to recognize that Clean California funding from the governor's Clean California initiative actually funds the capital side of the improvement, and the maintenance side is not funded in a way, but Caltrans regular maintenance would try to step up to cover for the meantime. And yes, you recognize that the sprinklers or the controllers often be broken by cutting the wires, wire theft and issues like that, challenges we face all over the district. So for the Simi Valley residents and community members, there is a customer service mechanism that Caltrans employ to take comments, or if you have such discovery, and share with Caltrans. So I'll share a link, and that is, we call it CSR, Customer Service Request, csr.dot.ca.gov. So I'll repeat, csr.dot.ca.gov. that would be the one that anyone at any time online could submit a ticket to request service if such discovery is made. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate knowing now where to get assistance. I think hopefully I'll jot this down. Does that works for anything that we need to report on the freeway or?
It actually does.
Oh, wonderful.
Council member, in fact, we encourage if the city posts that customer service request link on the city's website or council newsletters and such, so that community members would know. The reason for that is more efficient is that the location and the nature of the issue, only the firsthand person who discovered it could describe exactly where it's at. And so there's no one in between to make a mistake on transposing those reports and then type it up somehow is wrong, and then the service would be delayed. And so I encourage the usage of that, including the city staff, if you'd like, and that would cause a generation of a work order. And so Caltrans would do everything we can to respond within 30 days of that ticket generated.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's very, very good information. Much appreciated. And I wanted to thank you for the care you took in the design. At least as I viewed it, I saw a bit of what appeared to be the city's logo in a little bit in the formation of the freeway. Anyway, I think there's some good design, and looking forward to its coming to fruition. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know we were all very excited to hear about this. There were definitely on and off ramps in various needs of repair for a while now, but with the heavy rains that we got last year, the growth of weeds, I think it reached an all-time low around the end of the year. So it's very exciting to see this work getting done. We're really looking forward to seeing it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that concludes the presentation. Thank you, Hammer. Thanks, Duck, and all the other Caltrans representatives that took the time tonight to be available to answer any questions. We appreciate it. And if anything else comes up, I'll contact you, got your email, and we can go forward from there. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda, public statements. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, since there are no public hearings under Agenda Items 5 this evening, Agenda Items 4 and 6 are combined, and the City Council will hear all public statements under Agenda Item 4. Agenda Item number 4 and 6 are times allotted for public statements on all items other than public hearings, appointments, and informational reports. Speakers will be called on in the order in which a card was submitted to speak for public statements item 4 for a period of no more than 3 minutes each. Persons addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Mr. Mayor, unless you have any other comments, we can begin public statements.
Please proceed.
The first speaker, George Costa Rico.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, I'm George Costerico from Small Business Administration, Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. The reason I'm here is I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the resources that are in your county as a result of the December 2023 storms. As you know, Port Hueneme and Oxnard were hit pretty hard. We're just trying to visit the various jurisdictions to share some information. So essentially, we received a disaster declaration from Cal OES on January 8th. We did a survey, and as a result, our administrative director went ahead and issued a declaration called an administrative declaration. So as a result, SBA offers low-interest loans to businesses of all sizes, nonprofits, homeowners, and renters not covered by insurance or other recovery funds. So loans are available for up to $500,000 for homeowners to repair or replace their primary residence. Renters and homeowners are eligible for up to $100,000 and loans to replace or repair personal property, and businesses and nonprofit organizations up to $2 million to cover disaster losses. There are 4 eligible counties. Ventura is the prime county. Contiguous counties such as Santa Barbara, Kern, and Los Angeles are also eligible. So the interest rates are very low and for up to 30 years. As a result of the storm disaster declaration, the rates are as low as 2.688% for homeowners, 4% for businesses, and 3.25% for nonprofit organizations. This is very critical. The deadline for physical damage is March 11th, 2024. So the good news is that in Oxnard, we have a disaster loan outreach center. That's where people can come face-to-face and work on their applications. They can initiate one either at home, online, but they can come in and get help. And I'm pleased to report that we've had over 400 loans that have been initiated. We've already got pre-approval on 4 loans for payment, and we have about 220 in the pipe. So that means the other 200 or so are either been suspended where people have stopped adding information, so we put those on hold, or some people have actually been denied. If anybody you know has gotten a denial letter, we absolutely ask them to come into the center. We can work things out and figure out what's going on. A lot of times it's just missing paperwork, wrong numbers, those kinds of things. In some cases, unfortunately, it can be credit history or inability to repay a loan. As a result of that, I do want to let people know that the hours have been expanded 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturdays are 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And essentially, we just want to thank the Ventura County Office of Emergency Services, all the cities, for their help in getting the word out. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them, and I appreciate the time today.
Oh, we can't comment right now.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you very much. I totally understand. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Crystal Ryan?
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and council members. My name is Crystal Ryan. I am the PTSA president of Simi High School. I'm here this evening to express our gratitude to the City Council supporting Every 15 Minutes program and awarding our PTSA grant funds. Thank you so much. The funds will be used for various expenses for our impactful 2-day program. With the program, we hope to continue to remind our youth about drinking, impaired driving, personal safety, and our responsibility of making mature decisions and impact all of their decisions can have an impact on their family, friends, and community. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
James Greenfield?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. The beautification is wonderful, but how about finishing the sound wall? It'd be great to see some effort on there. But that's not why I came here. I wanted to talk about election integrity. We're in the election season. It's a quiet year for Simi, but we contract with the county to hold elections, and basically they're running, I'm gonna call it, it's unconstitutional what they're doing, and it's basically a corrupt a Ponzi voting scheme of sorts. Some of the unconstitutionality is it violates Article 2, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution, which states that elections are one day. And it's been upheld in 1997 by the Supreme Court with Foster v. Love that elections are one day. So this multi-day, and I'm going to say multi-day tabulation and unsecurable drop boxes, which we have here, and voting tabulation machines, or word Dominion, is programmable, hackable, it can run algorithms. And so the way that the scheme works is that multi-day tabulation sends out daily reports as to where's the score. And then that gives marching orders when it's sent out to the right people. They're corrupt for ballot harvesting, and they know who votes, they know who doesn't vote. And then they can create duplicate ballots sent in, and there's evidence of this in previous elections. So Unfortunately, free and fair elections are, they should be a universal supported issue, but it's not. And our Register of Voters is single-handedly opted us into the Voters' Choice Act, which is this election scheme. And we're pressuring the county, and you're probably asking, well, what can you do to help? And so you can support, you can pressure the county board and the registrar. You could even, and pressure to support that tabulation would not start until Election Day, and demand a hand count audit to verify the electronic tabulation results before certification. So I'm asking you to pressure and lobby, protect constitutional voting rights of Simi Valley. I believe that the residents of Simi Valley deserve to have a constitutional election, and granted, it's not your main area of jurisdiction, you have influence, and I'm asking you to exercise that influence and support free, fair, clean, fraud-free, to remove the ability to tamper and manipulate election results. And that should be something that we universally support here. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4A, City Council comments regarding public statements.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody who came out to talk tonight. And did our SBA representative leave? That's too bad. I've been seeing lots of media, lots of outreach from that program, and I think that's outstanding. I am curious how many people in Simi Valley have been able to benefit from that, since I'm not sure how much damage we sustained, but I'm grateful that they are out there doing this work. Those loan interest rates, I wish I had some damage, so I can get it refinance my house. Crystal, thank you for coming out and telling us, reminding us about that program. It's also reminding me that my Rotary Club needs to make a donation. Sorry, Mike, haven't got to you yet. And that's a great program, and I wish you the best. James, Mr. Greenfield, thank you for coming out and spreading the word. Obviously, we can't get into a discussion about that, but we should all be doing what we can to ensure free and fair elections. So thank you for making your voice heard.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just real quick. Oh, yes, those interest rates are fantastic. Being a banker, I told our city attorney here, I said, beats my bank. But no, I'm glad that the SBA is having those, the offices available for people to go in, because a lot of times people are a little intimidated by SBA just because there's a lot of paperwork. But yet if somebody's guiding you, it's very easy to step through it. And I like the way that he said, if you were denied, come in. Maybe there's something we can help you with. When it came to all the PPP loans, a lot of times that was the problem, is somebody forgot one piece of paper. So to have that available to our county is a great and wonderful thing. Every 15-minute program, that's a program after my own heart. My daughter, along with one of our officers, were in the first every 15-minute program just a few years ago. So I really support that every year. I know the Police Foundation has been supporting that every year too. So thank you for running that. Simi High just did it, right?
You're
you're going to. Okay, so I know it changes every other year. It's a great program. I encourage any parents that are able to go to it to really, if you can, go. It's very heartwarming. It's you might cry a little bit. I actually had the chaplain come in and with an officer to my office at work and talk about what happened, and it's very moving. I think if it saves one life, it's worth it. And I know it saves more than that, because it makes them make a choice. And Jake knows that, being from the school district. So it's a great program. So thank you for continuing that. I appreciate that. And Mr. Greenfield, thank you for coming out and voicing your opinion and sharing that and asking for people to help out. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Every 15 minutes, great program. I witnessed it last year, and I was amazed at how emotional the kids got during that program. They took it pretty serious. Whoever does all that makeup and stuff does a really good job because it was very realistic, and absolutely glad that that takes place. And I wish everybody was behind fair elections. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but we can certainly try. Thank you, everybody.
Can I say?
oh.
Well, I'm sorry.
It wasn't there.
No,
Now
I
it's
know.
back.
I pushed the wrong button.
Councilmember
I'm
Lister,
sorry.
please.
I meant to push off the microphone button, and I pushed off the in the queue button. So
I was surprised when it went away.
no, I'm still working on these buttons up here. No, dittos to everything that's been said. First of all, as far as the importance of free and fair elections and what you're sounding. Thank you for doing the work that you are, and we all need to be involved with that, with making sure they are free and fair. And so appreciate the every 15 minutes program. It is critical. My question was for Mr. Castorico or George, and he's not. I know he's not here, but maybe someone on the dais can answer the question. The question I wanted to know, because it is critical, and I understand the entire county has been designated a disaster area. Does the event have to be tied to the storm event that occurred on whatever the date was a few weeks ago? That tied. For instance, the reason I ask, for instance, we just had some horrific winds. My house, the gutters ripped off. That was not tied to that storm, but it's going to take some repair. I'm just curious if there are other weather-related events, because this is considered now a disaster zone. Can other things qualify? That's my question. He's not here. Does anyone else know? I've got his card. I can call him, but would love it asked for maybe the body.
It would have to be tied to that event.
It has to be tied to the event, which was specifically the water, the big, huge waves that hit the water. Okay.
Yeah, the declaration, the emergency declaration was for that event. Yeah.
And so I just want to make that clear then to everyone. It has to be damage tied to, and the dates of that event were, did I write it down?
Yeah, early January.
There you go. Early, okay, to that high water event. Okay, thank you. That was my question. Much appreciated.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 7, the consent calendar, and there are 2 resolutions for your consideration this evening. Consent item 4, resolution number 2024-02, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a standard public works agreement with Ovivo USA LLC and Coombs Service Group DBA Coombs Construction Engineers without the need for competitive bidding for the BNR West Basins Aerator Replacement Project in the amount of $947,989.63. And consent item 5, resolution number 2024-03, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Simi Valley authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the master agreement program supplement and any future amendments for the California State Transportation Agency Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program TIRCP transit projects.
Councilmember Lister.
Like to actually have a brief discussion on item 4, if we could, but I'm willing to certainly move the rest unless you'd like to discuss it first.
Go ahead, give a motion.
I so move that we pass items 1, 2, 3, and 5 of the consent calendar.
Second.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so why don't you begin the discussion?
Thank you. And in no way am I opposed to this item on the calendar. It's critical, but I thought it would be interesting just to ask a few questions for the body so we could, for more aware of. Basically, as I understand it, this is $1 million almost exclusive non-bid contract that we need to repair the membranes or to replace, and this is the only, because of our system, this is the only company that can provide that, provide those membranes, et cetera. So my question, though, is I understand the way it works. You have there are 4 basins with 221 air diffusers in each, and the membranes are anyway. And so those the air diffuser membranes need to be replaced. That's such a layman. I'm such not an engineer. I'm sorry. Is that kind of accurate?
It's very accurate. These membranes are kind of made of a material that's like a silicone type material that creates a bubble that is super fine so the bacteria can utilize the oxygen to do treatment. And over time, they start to degrade. So
thank you. So that leads into my question. I understand only 1 basin can be offline at a time. You have 4 basins. At least that's what the report said.
only one can be offline.
Correct. Only one can be offline. You need to have the 3 operating to keep the consistency. I guess my question is, what are the risks of taking it offline? Are there any risks? I mean, is this standard procedure? This is the only way it can be done, I assume.
It is. I mean, there's always a risk in taking a basin offline depending on what's coming through the treatment facility, which we don't know at all times of what's happening, but consistently we have a certain amount of constituents that can be maintained and treated with 1 basin being offline if we had to for an extended period of time. If we had to take off more than 1 basin, then treatment options and energy costs and other things are affected.
Okay, but this whole system doesn't shut down if something...
No, it's continually running.
Okay. My question, I understand this system was installed about 2003, about 2016 or something. I'm just doing this from memory. There was kind of revamping and upgrade. How long do these air diffuser, how long is this fix good for, I guess?
Manufacturer says anywhere from 12 to 15 years. So we are at the 8-year mark on these specific diffusers. And the reason that potentially they have degraded a little bit sooner than we anticipated was, during the construction phase of the facility right now, we've had to take tanks down more frequently for construction activities being installed of new equipment at the facility. So one of the big detriments and degenerators of this equipment, or these membranes, I should say, is sunlight and not being in water. So when you take it offline to do maintenance or to do a construction activity, it starts to degrade them very fast. So hence we are at this point now.
Interesting. Okay. And so assuming everything, the perfect world, then this may allow for 12 to 15 more years of life.
It will.
Okay. Depending what needs to be done. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to understand better the process. And unless there's other further conversation, I'd be happy to move passage of consent item 4.
Second.
Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9A, approval of conceptual plan for the transit center at the intersection of Tabo Canyon Road and Avenida Simi, and Public Works Director Ron Fuchiwaki and Deputy Public Works of Transit Ben Gonzalez are here to present this item.
Good evening again. This presentation will be in person, so we won't have any issues with the screen, the microphone, the speaker, or trying to read lips from somebody afar. He did. I want to introduce, as the city clerk already has, Ben Gonzalez. He is going to present the staff report this evening.
Good evening, Mayor Thomas and council members. This evening, staff is requesting that the City Council approve the conceptual plan for the proposed Simi Valley Transit Center at the intersection of Tabo Canyon and Avenida Simi. In February 2019, the City Council adopted the city's short-range transit plan, or SRTP for short. Some of the actions identified in the plan include restructuring the transit routes, which has been completed, and developing a community microtransit services, which is currently being planned. The transit plan also recommends the establishment of an interim transit center at the southwest corner of Avenida Simi and Tabo Canyon, along the curb on Tabo Canyon Road. An interim transit center was established in 2020 and enables transfers between 3 Simi Valley transit routes, and in the future will also provide a convenient bus stop location for VCTC's intercity bus service. The location also provides access to City Hall. the Simi Valley Library, the Senior Center, and other public and semi-public services and facilities. Conceptual plan for a permanent transit center was developed for the vacant lot at the corner of Tapo Canyon Road and Avenida Simi to estimate the cost of constructing an off-street transfer facility. The center would also provide a limited number of park and ride spaces and increase the potential for people to park and ride from the transit center. In February 2023, staff submitted the conceptual design and grant application titled Simi Valley Transit Center and Pathway to Transition to Zero-Emission Transit Fleet to the California State Transportation Agency, or CalSTA for short. The grant was required to address both transit improvement and reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. In April 2023, CalSTA awarded the city $7,053,000 to allow for the construction of an off-street transit center or transit hub and for acquisition of zero-emission buses. The grant funding is from California 2023 Transit Intercity Rail Capital Program, and funds must be expended by June 30th, 2027. The grant funds cover safe pathways for passengers to move between different routes, security cameras, improve ADA access between transit hub and city facilities, a canopy over bus benches, in-route chargers to increase the range of the zero-emission buses, and the redesign of small number of parking spaces as park and ride spaces. Since the facility is within the city's civic center zone, it will need to meet the landscaping requirements within that zone. Additionally, as the property is owned by the County of Ventura, the city will need to seek permission from the county for construction at the proposed transit center. By implementing the transit center, the city will make transit service more convenient and safer, and at the same time help implement the zero emissions mandate. The transit center will also improve regional passenger transferability between VCTC and Simi Valley Transit. It will also reduce the need for city funds to make these improvements by maximizing state grant funds. It is requested that the City Council approve the conceptual plan for the Simi Valley Transit Center to fulfill the SRTP goal and spend the TRCP grant funds by June 30th, 2027. This concludes the report, and staff is available for questions.
Councilmember Litster.
Thank you for this report, much appreciated. I have just a few questions. The first is, why do we use the word interim in the description of this transit stop? Interim to what? Interim suggests it's not permanent. And so are we headed to something else that's not?
Well, I think we use the term interim as it relates to ultimately we want to build this off-street facility. So in the interim, the SRTP recommended an on-street facility to implement so that the revised routes as well as a transit hub could be established sooner than the
So
off-street
I must have misread the report incorrectly. So you're not suggesting that this new design is interim, just the offset. So you're suggesting we're going to build both. The design is to do both this time.
The interim, so-called interim, is already in place, and it's the bus zone on the west side of Avenida Simi.
So this is not an interim plan. What's in place right now is interim.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Just wasn't clear in the way I read the report. That is helpful. So I guess then going back then to my questions. Tell me about the direction of traffic, and I like this design. Are the buses, as I understand it, they come a lot of them come south on Tapo Canyon, coming from where they've been up at the middle school. They come both directions, but they come south. Is there difficulty? They will now need to make a west turn onto Avenida Simi and then turn in from there. Is that correct? Am I doing this?
Yeah. They will be entering the facility off of Avenida Simi, and we did check with various they call them truck turning radiuses.
Okay.
To ensure that these maneuvers could be made. They'll be brought into this center where the buses can park and you can move from one bus to another, changing routes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There'll be some nice benches available, et cetera.
Lovely. So you're saying, and that this, I just wanted to use my pointer as well, that this that this U-turn you've investigated, and that should be fine as far as, it's not a real U-turn, but it's within bus turning radius.
Yes, it's been checked by our engineers, and the bus turning radius will fit into this area.
Wonderful. So I understand that this property currently is owned by the county, as is the library, owned by the county. And it's so nice that Mike Court is sitting here with the county so that he can answer if there's any questions. I guess my question is, have we had discussions already with the county about this? Is there any reticence on their part? I'm sure that they're excited about this prospect. But what conversation, has there been a conversation, first of all, and what is the response?
We haven't engaged with the county yet on this, and we wanted to start with the city council.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we don't really know what the response, could they squelch it theoretically? I guess
They could, but the lease provisions really provide for the language we assume would allow it to be approved. That unless it's completely objectionable, that it would endanger the county's property in some way, but we have all the insurance and use of the property.
Wonderful. And Mike Court's in the back, and he's going to make sure it happens for sure. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So does this, and I like the idea of a nice transfer station, et cetera, and they go back and forth. Is there provision for potentially maybe a ticketing or booths, or maybe a dial-a-ride connection place, or I don't know, even more connections taking place? Is that part of the discussion?
Yes, actually, so two things. For our dial-a-ride services, we can build there'll be additional parking spots just outside where the bigger buses are at. So they'll be able to make transfers. So for example, if our seniors or other riders are using the service, they'll be able to transfer from one route to another. Additionally, we'll be adding a stop for VCTC so that when they bring riders from other parts of Ventura County, they'll be able to transfer from their routes to ours.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. No, I see a lot of potential, and that this can be very valuable. And its location and proximity to the senior center is outstanding. I just lost my train of thought. I'm going to come. Oh, actually, this was a question I had. I'll let the attorney decide if it's too off topic, and if I can ask the question. We're talking about transit right now. In terms of scheduling, where you have them all lined up, does this necessitate rescheduling any of the routes? I guess it doesn't really change anything, but maybe it causes them to align closer because all of a sudden you're thinking in that direction? Well, I haven't got to the really question I want to ask. I'm easing into my next question. So that's the first question, which will give the tangential question. Okay.
Maybe minor adjustments by maybe a minute or so. The good thing about this is that the interim transit center right now, we're talking maybe just, a few feet over, that it's not going to impact the timing of the current schedules.
Okay, and here's the question that I really wanted to ask. And we have Jake Finch with the school district here, and so this is so nice. We have this. Is there any discussion of the routes, and maybe and this may help facilitate it, but specifically sitting down with the school district and talking about changing the routes just for the start and end of school days, so that maybe there's a specific route that services more of Simi High and services more of Royal High School and gets them to areas that currently aren't bused?
I think it's a little broad, but
I knew it.
but let's see if we can answer it narrowly. Yeah, let's go for it.
Sorry.
So you're, just to clarify, so you're asking if it, to better meet the schedule,
Well,
the bell schedules, right?
we right now have three routes, 10, 20, 30, correct? Isn't that how we number them, we call them?
Mhm.
And they're very fixed, and they go by the high schools, and they all end up coming through by here. But I know there's some students, for instance, we don't go up to the top of Wood Ranch, or we don't go whatever, but maybe it might be nice to do that at 3 o'clock every day, for instance. Is that a possibility as we reevaluate routes?
We could service other schools that you're asking about that we're not servicing. We could look at that and do a study on that.
I guess what I want is the school district and the city to sit down and look specifically what best gets our students home and to school. Just a thought, but
So it would really take us to reevaluate those routes that we had planned. And as Ben's indicated, they're down to the minute of where we're at each
What-
location.
and I guess I'd heard at the neighborhood council meeting that I attended a couple weeks ago that they're up for reevaluation in a year or two. Is that accurate? Was that just maybe that wasn't accurate? Is that?
I'm not aware, but I mean, if the council,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
we adopted the SRTP 5 years ago?
18, 19, we're going to
Okay,
do it.
well, almost.
Yeah,
So,
we're gearing
yeah,
up again though for that, right?
If the council wants us to reevaluate the routes, we certainly can do that. But there's a lot of effort went into the routes that we have now.
I understood. Okay. Well, completely on topic. Thank you. This is, I think, an excellent addition. I was just thinking, Mayor Keith Mashburn, when he left, his parting words were, "You council better do something about the buses out there." I don't know if you remember that, but that was his parting words. Anyway, I think conceptually it's got some great merit. Thank you.
Well, I will say that this is a vast improvement over the line of sight issue exiting the city hall parking lot. So I'm all for it.
I second what the mayor said.
Go right ahead.
I'm jumping in where I'm not supposed to. I do notice our drivers have to walk quite a distance for when they're on their breaks and that type of thing. Is that still going to remain the same for them with this? I love this. It's a great new thing, but there aren't restrooms or break rooms or anything planned for this area, are there?
That's up for discussion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think it should be up for discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the report, in the award of the grant, there was some allocation for zero-emission buses. What are we looking at in terms of those vehicles? And I know that we're talking about in route charging stations. Are we anticipating that buses run out of power mid-route, or are they all to be here at the transit hub? How and are we wedded to electric?
That last question I'll defer to.
Yeah. I'll
I can
take-
answer the first two.
I'll take it. So I know are we wedded to electric? No. And we're waiting, we're waiting as long as we can in order to do the zero emission vehicle purchases. But there are deadlines that we do have to meet that the federal government is requiring us to have them in place by a certain amount of time. And there is a long lead.
Ordered or in place?
Well, there is a long lead time
Right.
to get them. So we have to make sure we're at least following the federal guidelines. Hydrogen is one hydrogen buses, we're looking at those as well as the electrics. The challenge with electrics is on short routes, they'll probably work just fine to be able to drive in city only. But if we would not be able to take that bus over to Chatsworth, an electric bus, it won't go. It won't. The technology doesn't exist to get it there and back. So we're gonna continue to evaluate it as long as we can, along with I think a lot of other transit agencies. But either one is going to take a significant amount of infrastructure, either hydrogen filling or electric. So we're not quite committed yet.
Well then, thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you.
So this is informational only. We're not voting to approve or.
What we're looking for is a conceptual approval of the plan, and then we'll continue to work on that. There's going to be many more stops back to the council on that idea as we continue to move forward.
So is this an actual vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the conceptual plan for the transit center.
Second.
Direct staff to proceed with development of the proposed transit hub at the corner of Tapple Canyon Road and Avenida Simi.
Second that. Sorry, seconded too early. My apologies.
It's okay. Call for a vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 10A, City Council member reports.
Councilmember Lister.
It's not making you go first this time. Oh, that's right. I wandered out last time. That's what happened. No. Thank you, Mayor. On Monday, January the 8th, several of us, I think 4 of us were at the presentation to Kelly Evans for the Holiday of Hope up at the Simi Town Center. I think we referenced it last time, but I wanted to mention it because I've had ongoing email conversation with Kelly Evans, and wanted to mention that this Thursday at 10 o'clock, they've invited all the moms of Simi Valley to come up and give their ideas of what they would like to see at the Simi Town Center. And so all the moms of Simi Valley are invited to go to the Simi Town Center this Thursday at 10 o'clock to express their desires of what they would like to see to both Kelly and Jeff DeJulius and those who are having some impact on what's happening up there at the town center. So that's, anyway, taking place this Thursday at 10 a.m. On Thursday, January the 11th, I did attend and the Simi Valley Education Foundation Teacher of the Month presentation, actually conducted that, where we recognized Eileen Nash at Big Springs Elementary. I also want to mention Eileen as we presented, and this is her year that she's retiring, and she's just done wonderful things in education, spent all her time there at Big Springs. But talk about the history, as we were chatting, she mentioned, have you noticed that big, beautiful stained glass window at the Cultural Arts Center if you turn around? So if you'll notice, there's a plaque with her family name on it, that she helped raise funds for that beautiful stained glass window, Cultural Arts Center, many years ago. And so I commend her and congratulate her and appreciate all that she's done for the city. Also appreciated visiting with Brian, our city manager. He was willing to take my phone calls. I appreciate that. Also on that date at 4 o'clock, I was my last day officially chairing the entire board of the Ventura County Association of Governments. We met at Cal State University Channel Islands at the Broome Library, a beautiful facility there if you've not been there. Just a beautiful room. But I want to say thank you to Jennifer Harkey of the Continuum of Care, who gave a presentation to that body and probably brought 10, 11 people who all spoke to the different items, different programs in place to try to tackle homelessness. And of course, the homeless count was also being promoted, the need for that. And anyway, she did an excellent job and appreciated that. And I want to say thank you to my colleagues that in that body, that it's the work that's being done there is very positive, and it was an honor to serve as the chair of that body, of that organization. Caught the tail end of the human trafficking event the Seropolis put on. What a great event. I know others will speak to that who were also in attendance. It was just a very meaningful event. On Friday, January 12th, I also attended the Simi Valley Police Foundation special recognition to our officer for any of the year. But one of the things I came away with, I was so impressed. I've never seen 2 rock guitars play the national anthem. That was just outstanding. It was great. It was really great. Saturday, January the 13th, Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes and myself attended the Arts Commission retreat, which was put on by Sandy and others there at the Cultural Arts Center. An excellent opportunity to discuss what the direction now with the new bylaws that we received, just the direction of what's going to take place now that we have the bylaws that allow us to do much. And I wanted to share actually what, if I can get to it, what what basically we discussed, and this is what was in my calendar. The Simi Valley Arts Commission is an advisory board appointed by the City Council to promote, encourage, and increase support for the community's artistic and cultural assets, integrating arts and culture into community life, supporting the creative spirit and endeavors of all Simi Valley residents. So that is basically, our bylaws now codify that as our mission, and we were trying to meet to say, what does that mean? What are our next steps? And there were much brainstorming, lots of great ideas that came out of it. I think the real thing that came away is that we need to maybe start by defining what art looks like for our community specifically. And so there'll be more of that discussion. And then we can delve into programs that support it. I think that's enough for that week. Taking the next week on Wednesday, January the 17th, met with, again, Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes and Brian, our city manager, and Linda Swan, assistant city manager, to discuss, to make a selection of an amphitheater feasibility study proposal person or group. And I think what was lovely is that we concurred immediately. I was waiting for a 2 or 3 hour slog. It was a 15-minute. We all thought, this is the group. So that'll be presented to the City Council soon. On Thursday, January the 18th, met with constituent Jerome Walsh, who had some concerns about just some of the neighborhood issues and specifically trash cans, et cetera. We had a good conversation. Also on that date, I chaired my last VCOG admin committee meeting. And I wanted to share something that came out of that. What's interesting is that one of the tasks of VCOG is that they shepherd funds from SCAG to be used for regional, specifically for REAP funds that stand for Regional Early Action Plan grants. They're grants that the whole region can use to basically help with housing, et cetera. And so there was REAP 1. We got a bunch of money, used it for various things, for housing elements for the entire county. Basically, there's now REAP 2.0 that has gone forward. We made a proposal and received support for about $450,000 for this region to use. And so right after that meeting, it was proposed, I was asked to sign as chair the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding about how we are going to go forward, that they were accepting our proposal. And we were discussing how that could be done without a vote. We were just in the midst of that. And then the next day, SCAG notified us that all REAP 2.0 funds are being stopped because of the governor's budget cut. And so they were freezing that, so the $450,000 in funds right now are on hold. And then I just received another correspondence saying that SCAG has sent a letter to our Assembly and Senate saying, whatever you do, don't freeze those funds, they should be used. So more to come, whether or not we actually have that money to use for furthering regional early action plans that we've got in the hopper. On Wednesday, January 24th, I attended the Chamber Legislative Committee meeting. County Supervisor Janice Parvin spoke, which was very nice. It was a great meeting. I just didn't know I was going to be representing the city, and so I had a few things to say, but it was a good meeting. On Thursday, January 25th, again spoke with our city manager. Friday, January 26th was the official, although they opened on the sly about January 1st, Dunkin' Donuts grand opening ribbon cutting. One thing I thought I would like to share with the council that I learned there, you're familiar with the site, it's there on LA Avenue. My thought was that CBC credit unions that's there had this brainstorm to invite Dunkin' Donuts to come in and that'd be a good thing. I learned it was the other way around. It was Dunkin' Donuts that has been eyeing that spot for some time, wanted it. When it became available, they jumped on it, but knew it was such a big space they wanted to share it with someone. And so they're the ones that invited CBC Credit Union to come along with them. That's what brought that credit union into the East Valley, even though CBC Credit Union opened first. And I had an opportunity to speak with a few of the credit union employees. They said, oh yeah, since the donuts shop has opened, their customer traffic has increased exponentially because of Dunkin' Donuts. So it appears to be a good marriage. On Saturday, January 27th, I attended the VEX Over/Under Robotics Challenge. I understand I missed the mayor and Councilmember Kavanaugh, who also were there right before me. Bill and Donna Shem helped put that together, invited us. I was taken back, maybe you were as well, to see the schematics and books that these students have to draw in this competition. Just amazing what ninth graders and up to high school put together. It's really mind-boggling. It was just really outstanding competition that was done. It was sponsored by Grace Brethren School, held over at the church on Sycamore. They also work with Lorena, which I understand is just announced that they are closing in Thousand Oaks. And Julia of our city, she was there helping, and her daughter was involved. Anyway, it just was an amazing event. Since Jake is here, I would love it if there was a way that our school district high schools could also become involved in this. When I attended it reminded me very much of high school debate tournaments I went to as a high schooler, where there was so much energy involved in working on a project for the whole year. Anyway, I could see great value for everyone who participated. So it was lovely. One last thing, and then I will be quiet. Yesterday, maybe I won't. Yesterday, on Sunday, January 28th, I was invited to Good Books to welcome an author who was there at a book signing. And I want to say thank you that we have Good Books in our community. I don't know if you've been to that bookstore near Staples. It is, we are fortunate to have a bona fide new used bookstore in our community. Many do not have it. But actually, Marcus Critchfield, who uses the pen name Tyler Connor, has produced a Dukas and Allen comic strip book that was being promoted and sold. It was delightful to be there and to see this budding this fun project, and to be in a bookstore to promote new literature. It was very good. And I must say, today is my son's birthday. Happy birthday, Tanner. And happy birthday, Alexa, my granddaughter, which was Saturday, 2 days ago. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Thursday, January 11th, I also attended the Optimist human trafficking event. Once again, they did a great job with that. A wonderful turnout, over a couple of hundred people. Thank you for United Methodist for hosting, and for their pastor, Stacy, I believe, for emceeing. I heard people saying, we're going to have to come to this church. She's really good. So that was very impressive. But it was a great program. Our own chief was part of the panel, so thank you, Chief, as well as our DA and a couple of other people. It was a really, really eye-opening event, and they have this every year, so I would really encourage anyone to attend it whenever they can. The different Seroptimus clubs have it in different cities at different times, and our own mayor's wife was one of the founders of this Seroptimus club. So we have a little bit of a closeness there, I think. So, and Brandy's in the audience too. So, oh, and your sister. Okay, hi. On Friday, January 12th, we had our Simi Valley Police Foundation, the Police Recognition Awards Dinner. Yes, Sergeant Frades was honored there with the Police Officer of the Year, along with other different employees from, my friend Janet won the Chaplain of the Year. So it was really fun to see her recognized and see everybody else recognized up there. I had the pleasure, and Councilmember Litzer sat with me. We sat at the canine table. It was the fun table. So we had a good time. So it was really a lot of fun, raised money for a good cause. So thank you to the Police Foundation and for the all the employees, city employees that helped put that on. I believe mostly police department employees, correct? Yes. They did a great job, and it was really a fun event. On Thursday, January 18th, Councilmember Lister stepped down as the chair, so did I. So January 18th was my last day as chair of the Economic Development Collaborative. So we had a annual dinner at the Zakari Inn, or Zakari Dunes. It used to be Mandalay Bay in Oxnard. Beautiful. They've done a lot of really nice updates there. It was actually a nice clear day when we were there too, so it was very pretty. Our County Board of Supervisor, Janice Parvin, and Mike Court were there. I got a beautifully framed resolution from them. And Janice said, she goes, I only framed it because I like you. I said, okay, thank you. But it's beautiful. I have it hanging up in my office at work. The other ones I'm bringing here. So that one was special. It was really hard to pass the torch. It was a lot of work over the last couple of years, or the last year, but I really enjoyed it. But the new chairperson is Kristen Dekas, and she's the CEO of our Port of Hueneme. So I'm really leaving it in good hands with her. You know, and we had the gentleman from SBA here talking about the disaster. The port, I don't know if a lot of you may not know, but the port has one of the few electrical plugins so that when a ship comes in and they're unloading, they don't have to keep their engines running. They plug into electricity. So they save, it's so much better for our the water and just everything. Well, that system was extremely damaged during the high tides. So I think she said about $20 million to repair. So they're looking for grants and such like that. But, you know, they were so proud of that, you know, being able to do that. We just within the last few years finished it up where it was 100%. So keep the port in mind. They work really hard out there. And hopefully, I know Kristen's going to do a great job at the EDC, and I know she's going to do a great job getting back online with her electric. She's a go-getter. On Thursday, January 25th, the mayor, I think, made a personal appearance, but I watched it from home. Our flock community meeting on the flock cameras. It was very, very interesting, and Sergeant Kyle Crocker did a fantastic job. You know, Q&A from an open audience can be really intimidating and really scary, and Sergeant Crocker did a great job. He really did wonderful. He was very knowledgeable, explained things, and really did a great job. I texted the chief during the presentation, so he's doing a great job. So it was really good. So thank you to the chief for putting that on and for Sergeant Crocker for doing such a great job. My last item will be January 27th. This past January, I went over to the Grace Brethren's VEX Over and Under Robotics Challenge. It was fantastic. The mayor and I were just sitting there going, wow, the entire time. I ended up staying over 2 hours. I was just fascinated by what they were doing. I ran into Julia, who works here in our city manager's office. Her daughter goes to Lorena, which is very sad that Lorena is closing. But Grace Brethren is trying to talk all of the robotics people, ladies from Lorena, to come over to them. So hopefully that would happen. That would be a great thing. But seeing what those young people do, if you go to my Facebook page, I put up like a 20-second video of the robots. And each team had 2 robots and over and under, and they were trying to get these balls in these nets. And my favorite thing was the hang. We saw they have a pole, and you get your robot to hang on these poles, and you get big points. So we saw this one do a nice little hang, like clips like this, and then it hangs. Well, the next thing I watched, they had this robot climb this pole and lock on top, and then his partner locked on the bottom part. So they had double hanging on this pole, and everyone's going, I'm fascinated by it. Were you there? You were there at that time, weren't you? It was just fantastic. We're both like going, how'd they do that? So, you know, these are high school kids, but obviously they do a great job. And one of them from Grace Brethren is Ian, who's on our youth council. And he's one of their lead drivers, I believe, and he really does a great job. So kudos to Grace Brethren and Bill and Donna Shem. I went to high school with Bill, so it was kind of fun to see him there and to get to talking to him. Saw a couple other people there I knew. So it was a great community event. There were over 38 to 40 high schools from throughout Southern California there. I sat next to a young gentleman from Manhattan Beach, and I said, I don't understand any of this. And he goes, here, I'll help you. And so he was answering questions and showing me different things, and it was really, really interesting. So great event, and I can't wait to see. They change the contest each year. So I can't wait to see what they do next year. I'm looking forward to that. So that's the end of my report, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Friday, January 12th, I too attended the Simi Valley Police Foundation Award 27th Annual Police Recognitions Award Dinner. I want to say congratulations to all the award recipients. We had our Officer of the Year here today. Great job. On Friday, January 19th, I attended the League of California Cities Policy Committee meeting for the Public Safety Committee. We laid down what we're going to try and do this year, which is basically either find some way to influence the legislature, either by new laws or by putting another ballot on the ballot for the people to change Prop 47 so that we can arrest people for theft again. Saturday, January 27th, I attended a fundraiser for the Simi Valley Boys High School, or for the Simi Valley High School boys baseball team at the Grand Vista Hotel. And that's the end of my report.
Mayor Pro Tem Rhodes.
My report will not be as efficient, but I will try. On Thursday, the 11th, I also attended the Seroptimus Human Trafficking event, and there are a few topics that you wish you could ignore in life, and this is one of those things that you want to deny. And I'm gratified that there are those in our community that acknowledge, see, and also act. And I want to thank the Seroptimus for such an informative panel discussion. It's healthy to know that interagency cooperation is finding and catching the perpetrators. Thanks to our police chief Shorts and the trafficking task force for looking out for the victims here in Simi. I commend from the panel DA Nasarenko for prosecuting those that are involved in Ventura County. Prosecution is a deterrent, and he's doing a great job in that. Thanks also to the support organizations like Forever Found and others that help extract the trafficked individuals and help them find a new start. This meeting also created an opportunity for myself to learn about some obstacles that, when removed, will make the police's job easier, and I'm humbled by the idea that I can help in this cause, and I'm working with staff to bridge some interagency obstacles on that. On Friday the 12th, I also attended the Simi Valley Police Department Awards Dinner, and no event will make you feel safer than being in a room of Simi's finest. What I love about this event is that the awardees are chosen at every level, and so congratulations to all the recipients. You make Simi a safer place, whether out on the streets or in a supporting role, and it takes great people at all levels to keep us one of the safest cities. Saturday the 13th, Councilwoman Lister and I, as she mentioned, had the Arts Commission retreat. Sandy led an amazing meeting, and for those of you who have attended groupthink meetings, there are a couple different types of thinkers, and especially in the arts community, some that are linear, some that are a little more ethereal, and she managed to keep us on track and get everybody participating. That's a great skill. Here are the two takeaways that I found most significant. One, that the Arts Council has traditionally been focused on what is happening inside the Cultural Arts Center, and our scope has now widened to include outside the four walls, which opens up a lot more opportunities, and we'll continue to define what those are. And then second, the coordination between the Arts Council and City Hall is different in Simi. I didn't know this until I was in the meeting. Other places might have a more confrontational relationship, where ours is integrated, and having two members of council on that panel really helps in that. So I look forward to the new opportunities to advance arts in the city this year. Tuesday, the 16th, one you missed on your report, Neighborhood Council number 4.
I was there. I was there.
So I attended Neighborhood Council number 4, though I'm actually the liaison from the council to Neighborhood Council number 1. Since it is my district, I had some news to report on, and then I made sure that everyone knew if you have a problem, talk to.
Actually, what we said is that the 1-2 punch, we know who really, anyway, it was good to be there.
On Wednesday, the 17th, at the Samaritan Center, I met with a local musician and the director of the Samaritan Center regarding a fundraising concert. It's one of those that if we get who we think we're going to get to play, it will be huge. We've started the ball rolling, including meeting with Dan Parnick at the Parks Department later that day to secure a spot in the park. We have basically till the end of this week to secure our talent, so stay tuned. On Wednesday, the 17th, I briefly attended the point-in-time homeless count training, and I stopped in to the start of the training just to thank those that were participating. I got to do it last year, but I was going to be at a conference on the actual point-in-time count day, so I just wanted to make sure that they knew that their roles in this event and going out and participating were appreciated and important. Also on Wednesday, the 17th, Councilwoman Lister and I and staff, we reviewed the RFPs as she discussed before, and I too was impressed that all of the great minds in the room picked basically the same proposal and made it a much shorter meeting. So, Friday, January 19th, I didn't have an official event, but I want to give a shout out to a happy anniversary to my friend Tony Filato and myself, because January 19 marked 8 years of a successful kidney donation. So, on Monday, the 22nd, discussions regarding positions on legislation. I had an orientation call for the governance transparency, and labor relations. There's too many acronyms for the committees. And there were several bills that they were tracking on that, and I was graciously hosted by City Manager Gabler and Assistant City Manager Argerbright to review some of these bills and get my head around them, just so I know that which we were dealing with. And one in particular was SB 252, dealing with CalPERS investments and what they, whether they should be directed by legislation to invest in or not invest in certain things. On Tuesday, the 23rd, in the afternoon, through Friday, the 26th, I attended the League of California Cities orientation for new council members and mayors. I wasn't able to attend last year. Attending with me was Assistant City Manager Argerbright, which was awesome because as you sit in the presentations, and it's 3 days of PowerPoints, it's wow. But I could turn and say, do we do that? Yes. Okay, good. And then it was extremely helpful to have her there. What I do love about the League of Cities is one of their top 4 goals, the number one on top, is to claw back and retain rights of cities to set their own direction. So good organization. Another stat that I learned there that is mind-boggling to me, and I'm going to share it with you. There are 482 cities in California, and I think of us as a small town. Turns out that we're number 48 by size. So we're in the top 10% in size of cities in California. So I'm not saying that we should grow up and act our size, but it's great that we can still maintain that small town feel in this. And then today, I had an opportunity to meet with a detective on the trafficking task force to discuss those, the interdepartmental cooperation that I was talking about before, and relaying that information to chief and city manager. And that ends my report.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Friday, January 12th, attended the Simi Valley Police Foundation Police Recognition Awards dinner. Yeah, we recognized the Officer of the Year, and throughout the department, volunteers, members from the call center, as well as community members that performed heroic actions during the year to make a difference in our city. So it was a really great event. Got a chance to actually participate in the program. Thursday, January 18th, we had a Paratransit Advisory Board. It's something that happens quarterly, I believe, and pretty much just business. Friday, January 19th, I got invited to be the guest speaker at the Simi Valley Moore Park Republican Women's Luncheon. We got a chance to talk about the city, the goings-on in the city, and answer a lot of questions about the city, and it was a great event. Let's see here. And then Thursday, the 25th, attended the Chamber Tourism Alliance meeting up at the Skateboard Hall of Fame. We had a really good, productive meeting, so hopefully it's a sign of good things to come. and I want to talk about this VEX robotic challenge on Saturday. So I went into that not really knowing what to expect, other than I was imagining that these were high school students that were building some kind of like a robot cat, and then using their gaming skills. But that's exactly, I mean, not what it was. They had to design their own robots. And the process involved coming up with engineering notes, and then developing those, testing those, and then re-engineering and keeping notes on all of that. So they're actually graded on that during the, and what the number of things these robots could do was really amazing. I definitely want to go see it again. That was a fantastic event. Anyway, that wraps it up for me. So, where am I? I'm going to call for any future agenda items.
Not a future agenda item per se, but tonight I learned that we can, anytime we have a problem with something on the interstate, we're encouraged to call and tell them. And so I would like to be sure that csr.dot.ca.gov is in big letters somewhere on our city website. I suspect it's not there yet, but
If it's not, it will be.
thank you. Thank you. I want that. And the other thought was too, I believe the SCE.com/outage map, is that a link also on that is on our website?
I believe it is, and we will also put Mr. Thomas's presentation on our website also, so
Excellent.
people can see that.
Okay, but thank you. That was just my request, particularly the Caltrans. I want people to feel that they're empowered if they see something to say something. So
That would be the other Mr. Thomas, right?
that would
Not
be the
related.
Andrew.
One note that I forgot to mention, Saturday, February 10th, I will be holding a town hall meeting at the Simi Valley Town Center in the community room at 12 noon. So the announcement went out earlier today. With that, I am going to adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of two individuals, Marshall Schrago. Schrago? Oh, Schrago, okay. And Russ McClellan. Yeah, he was a longtime volunteer with the police department. So with that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Have a nice evening.